Stove just turn this shit up louder. Black Eddie Bauer, mask on my face like I'm ready to take what is yours cause it's ours. Y'all stole my style, I shit on you like bowels and take all your princesses, bitch, I am Bowser. Fuck superpowers, I got this weed.
Hey there guys, Wolfman back again with another video. So this one is what are your best uses for a bag of holding from Mr. Ripper. And I watch a lot of this content along with some things from a couple other YouTubers and stuff like that. So these can be hilarious. I've seen so many different versions of this. It's fucking great, and I hope you guys enjoy the video. And here we go.
The players around the globe, welcome. If you have any stories to contribute about today's topic, do so in the comments below. But for now, do tell me, what are your best, worst, weirdest, wildest, craziest uses for a bag of holding? So my halfling chef, Paul Dean, wants to make pasta on the road, but we don't have a colander. Can he just pour the cooked pasta into the bag, then request the water to fall out, then call on the pasta for easy draining? What similar uses might it have in such a whimsical campaign? It's brilliant, although where would you draw the line? If the bag can separate any mixture, can it separate solutions too? Put seawater into the bag, ask for fresh water. You have potable water even if you're stuck on a raft in the ocean. And you have salt, which you can sell for a good price. Put roadkill on the bag, ask for edible meat. The bag strips the roadkill of its fur, bones, and any diseased or rotten material, and hands you only the meat that is edible. Put a haystack in the bag, ask for a needle. You can find a needle in a haystack in seconds. Maybe a needle isn't the most important thing, but you could use it to sift through rubble or any special items. If it can detect specific magic items, then take all the goblets off from the shelf in the cave at the end of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Shove them all into the bag, and then request the Holy Grail. Voila! No rapidly aging into ancient piles of dust for you or your party. So, as I said, where would you draw the line? Using it as a colander is obviously harmless and fine, but it turns out that using a magical sorting spell could actually be incredibly powerful in certain situations.
You know, as a D&D player myself, never actually thought about it like that.
Even with 5th edition's explicit restrictions on size and weight, a bag of holding is phenomenal for smuggling weapons, hauling large quantities of bricks, quickly tossing said weapons and bricks up 3 stories to the hidden road, who unloads the bag and promptly constructs the most elaborate crushing trap he can devise to fall off a roof in anticipation of the stupidest assassination mission ever. Toss the bag back down, reload it with regular cargo back at the inn, and casually cause a scene an hour later, causing the dignitary to stop right under the trap. What a tragic incident. So much blood. Who knows what they were building up there? We didn't even have to use the weapons.
Wow. Wow. That's brilliant, actually. Like, huh. Never actually thought about that.
And store all of my undead in my bag of holding. It takes a while to get them all in and out, but my party still thinks I'm just an indecisive wizard who could never pick a school of magic to study because they don't constantly travel with us. Users pretend to be a cripple by stuffing a limb in it and tying it around your shoulder or thigh or whatever. It's not a bluff when you're actually missing the leg. That's kind of brilliant.
Wow, yeah, that is actually kind of brilliant. Huh. Never thought about it like that.
The malicious.
I never would have thought about that in a million years. Like, ever.
Snowline's DM in me would allow this, but then move the water from the cooked pasta, making it dried out.
Okay. I am so sorry, guys. I really am. I am not sponsored. Hopefully, maybe, one day. Possibly.
use I've seen was to kill a slime. Kept rolling to shove it in the bag, taking damage each time. Barely managed to get it all in, with everyone else dumping healing spells into the shover to keep him alive.
That's actually pretty smart. See, me, if I were to do that, I'd say that the slime was actually still alive in the bag. And so that later on, and that's mainly because I don't think slimes breathe. And a bag of holding has 10 minutes worth of air inside of it. So if slimes don't need to breathe, then the 10 minutes of air don't matter. And they can unleash the slime on an unwitting enemy at any point in time later on. Haha.
A friend of mine used to store spells in bags of holding through Cliff of Warding. He'd set a trigger to, whenever someone yells name of spell into the bag of holding, those glyphs trigger on whoever yelled into it. It was expensive, but it was super amusing when the party had to stop every now and then to yell into the bag, whenever we needed buffs before kicking down the door of a big bag. I casually mention my players, you could fill a bag of holding with bricks or rocks and just turn it inside out and they'd all appear. I may have made a terribly wonderful mistake.
Yeah, you may have. That as a DM myself, there's a lot that can be done with that. I know I've seen my players come up with some pretty weird shit.
My favorite use of extra dimensional bag comes from the 3rd edition Stronghold Builder's Guidebook. A cursed bag of holding is called a bag of devouring. It works as a bag of holding, but has a chance of eating all your stuff. In the guidebook, they recommend seeking these bags out and putting them in the bottom of the Stronghold sewage system or waste disposal chute. The bag will slowly fill up and lead to waste. This probably doesn't technically work, but I allowed one halfling thief to get in one, and the other halfling thief put it partially open in his back pocket. Go to a merchant while a hand sneaks out of the back pocket and steals things from the shop displays. I'm confused.
Wow. That's hilarious. I'm sorry. That is great. You know, I'm surprised none of my players, like, I've had 3 rogues in a party at one point. Tiefling rogue, gnome rogue, and a variant human rogue. And they all, one of them had a bag of holding, not all of them. But they never came up with anything remotely like that. And that would have been great. That really would have. Oh god, that would have been hilarious.
It sounds like everyone in this thread is talking about a handy haversack, not a bag of holding. A bag of holding doesn't just give you what you want. It has an opening you reach in through. The haversack is the one that gives you the item you want, and even then, it's not magically popping out, just magically on top. You have to be careful with bags of holding, specifically with your...
No, he's not wrong. There were a couple of people that, like, the water and the salt one. And at first it kind of confused me because I'm like, that sounds more like a handy haversack than a bag of holding, but a lot of DMs get confused with it. And don't get me wrong, I did too after a minute. Because I'm like, no, wait, I guess that could work. But yeah.
With regard to storing food, they're huge and you cannot imagine the amount of crumbs and mold that accumulates. That should inevitably attract mice, not just the normal kind that steal into your bags while you sleep, but also the extra-dimensional meta mice. Meta mice will nibble on your magical items, gradually eroding their effectiveness, sometimes leaving minor curses behind. They also leave the equivalent of drops called flivver, which looks like nothing so much as rice grains made out of colorful flivver. Depending on the diet of the meta mice that left it, flivver can have all sorts of quirky, unexpected effects, both beneficial and otherwise. The more adventurous alchemists and potion makers prize it, but it requires a delicate hand and expert precautions. Aerosolized flivver dirt dust can be especially dangerous and has been known to cause many a tragical magical malady for unwary bag of holding owners.
I did not know that. And see, that's part of the reason why I love watching videos like this and other D&D content videos, because it gives me so many ideas that I can run whenever I actually get my next campaign going, which hopefully will be soon, because I do want to start running a new campaign, and I have this wonderful idea, and it's all going to be homebrewed and a bunch of stuff. Like, everything's going to be homebrewed. Like, I'm going to have homebrewed races, and like there will be some D&D races, and it is based on D&D 5e, but it's a lot of it's going to be like way homebrewed, as far as like how the races work and everything.
I've jumped into my bag of holding multiple times to evade law enforcement and merchants. You'd normally suffocate, so lizard folk was pretty useful in that aspect of holding breath. Very fun to use as a sneaky type. Just steal or do some crazy shit, and when it gets sketchy, just go around the corner and jump into a bag.
That is really smart.
Your strategy. Upgrade your skills. Ascend your champions.
Like, that's super smart. We actually, the rogues in one of my parties actually did that. Those 3 rogues that I mentioned a little while ago actually did that. One of them would go, like 2 of them would go and steal crap, while the third one with the bag of holding would be sitting around the corner, and if anything went wrong, they would come running around the corner, and he would have the bag of holding open, so they could just jump in, and then he would walk out around the corner. Guards would ask, "Hey, have you seen anybody come running around here?" "No, not really." I did see one person go that way though. Didn't even make him roll a bluff check, because, well, they're like way too busy to like stop and really see if he's lying or not.
So I have a player read the full description of bag of holding between sessions. I had no idea and did not think much of it. They knew they were heading to a small fight, and it was in a crypt. D&D classic, am I right? Well, they pushed through a couple traps, fights, and found a stream. The player said, "Wait up, I have an idea." He gave all the stuff in his bag to players to hold. It was a bunch of random stuff. I'm a rule Nazi about it if you do not write it down and it did not happen or you do not have it. I hate non-note takers, but understand. Well, he takes great notes, and we had like a 20-minute laugh session as it was ending. He put the bag in the stream and let it fill. I warned him he could not tell when it was full, but he could guess. Make an intelligent roll. 18, okay. You have a good idea based on the speed of the stream and what you know of the magic. I rolled a percentile dice, my favorite thing to really decide stupid things, 100. Okay, you think it is about full. I let it get to max capacity. They continued forward, and during the boss fight, I would say around halfway through, it was a tough one. He said, "Back to the door and cast a wall of stone." The player took 5 min out of character talk, and he did not answer anything. Just trust me. He texted me what he planned on doing. I actually laughed out. Okay, they all back out, and the wall of stone goes up. Suck on this. He turns the bag inside out and makes everything in the bag come out. He cast Dimension Door and popped out next to everyone soaking wet. He filled the room with water. I made a roll against the wall, and it held, but took damage. They waited 10 minutes, they dropped the wall, idiots right. I made them make dex saves, and they all knew why. I used tidal wave stats and made the DC super high. They all took some damage, but they won the fight in an epic way, deserved some inspiration, and a story that we talk about. Now, they are playing a new campaign, and last night used an empty keg to make a fire to lure people out of a stronghold. These players are a riot to play with.
That's great. Like, even I have to say, that's great. Like, I wouldn't have known what to do in that situation. Like, I probably would have improv it kind of like that DM did, but that was great.
My campaign's bag of holding operates more like a woman's purse. instead of buried somewhere beneath a receipt from 2015 and a ruined powder compact close to an almost empty tube of chapstick that's slightly sticky. Come to think of it, I gave the bag of holding to the other woman in the group, probably because she asked what should be in her backpack. And I said, empty your purse and remove the things that are obviously modern and can't be swapped out for a Victorian version. I had to turn encumbrance off in roll 20 because we realized that we carry way too much crap in our purses.
Handy haversack.
I have an actual recipe for bread that works perfectly for a bag of holding. Bag of holding bread. Oh, I am excited. Mix some flour.
You have my attention.
Salt and water. Add seeds or coarser grains such as rye to your preference. A tiny sprinkle of dry yeast. Anyone with proficiency with cooking utensils or someone with druidcraft can easily manage this. Let rinse for about 12 to 14 hours inside a bag of holding. Heat a cast iron pot, dump the dough in the pot, and bake for 45 minutes. The recipe works just fine with open bonfires as you cook it in a cast iron pot, a common item for anyone with cooking skills. Even adventurers in the harshest conditions can enjoy freshly baked bread at the end of any long rest, as long as they can produce heat from the pot. After a nice breakfast, mix a new dough and put it in the holding for the next day.
Huh. Oh god.
The RPG mobile hit of 2019.
Okay, I'm just gonna throw this out there, guys. Even whenever I do get big enough to start getting sponsorships, I will never accept a sponsorship from Raid because I do not like that game. I have tried it, I am not a fan. Like, and I don't care what anyone says, it is not a good game. Like, it's just not. I don't get why people enjoy it.
Hey everyone, Brian here. Here's hoping everyone's...
Alright guys, that's it for this episode. This is probably going to be kind of a longer video because of all the stopping and stuff I had to do. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoy it. Stay safe, stay beautiful, and have a good one, YouTube. As soon as I can get this thing to open. Alright, have a good one. Stay safe, YouTube.